Ladies and gentlemen, we're live, pal. Welcome to CCW Insider August 31st edition. We're on the heels of Bash at the Brew. I'm with on this side of me, Lissy Almeida, ring announcer extraordinaire for Coastal Championship Wrestling and professional wrestling super fan. Welcome back to Insider, Lissy.
Thanks, Nelio. I'm very happy to be here. Always happy to pull up on a Thursday evening with you.
Yeah, we have a huge bash this weekend, but there's a couple things I want to talk about. A lot of crazy stuff happening in pro wrestling in general. So let's start the show. Okay, awesome.
I love that music.
I do too, right? It means everything. We're here and we're live on CCW Insider, and couple awesome things happening this weekend. Couple things we're going to talk about as the eyeballs start to come towards us, come towards you, Lissy. I have to say it's a crazy weekend in wrestling. Let's talk about All In London, and you have a pretty unique perspective. You were there.
I was. You know, I love to be at specific events that like this where it's like, dude, when do you get, well, they're going to be there back next year, so maybe we can all go. But definitely history in the making, over 81,000 fans. It met all my expectations. It exceeded my expectations, but also just to be with that many people, crazy. And I mean, when you think about it, AEW is a baby, right? Like, the company's a few years old, and for them to fill Wembley, like, hats off to them.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, 81,000 fans on it was pretty cool that, like, people were complaining that there was no card coming up onto the show and stuff like that, but the show was great, and it was awesome to see 81,000 people. It felt like a WrestleMania to me. When you watch all that, that many people watching the show, there's that aspect of that super show. How would it compare to a WrestleMania?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely had that WrestleMania feel to it. Big matches, right? Big matches. A lot of energy going into things, and I think that just the emotion, right? I have to talk about MJF. I have to talk about Adam Cole. Like, I think they were on what was the pre-show. So it was a little hard to keep up just because I was there, but they started things on the pre-show, ROH World Tag Team Champions, and then they're on the main event later on. Like, you started on a high, you ended on a high, and you pretty much stayed there the entire night.
It's ballsy because they could get hurt on that first match.
Right.
And then they're going to ruin your main event. Like, it's very ballsy by Tony Khan to put the two guys wrestling in the main together. But I think that story, part of me was like, oh, like, it's comedy, but it worked. Like, that was an excellent main event. I would have to say, I guess what everybody's wondering at home, Lissy, they're already asking is, so you were there. What happened? CM Punk, Miro, CM Punk, Jack Perry, like, what happened?
I wasn't back there.
Well, I figured the whole stadium would have seen it. Like, these are huge personalities clashing. So.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I really can't comment on that. I like to just enjoy the positive parts of wrestling, but I mean, we're all human. We all have disagreements backstage, so it is what it is sometimes, right?
Yeah. No, of course. Obviously, like, that part of wrestling is so, like, so it's the worst part of professional wrestling, especially, like, you look at something where there's two guys with personal issues with each other. You would think that there would be a forum to settle those personal issues.
Exactly.
I don't know. Like, it seems like they could do that in the ring, I guess. I don't think you need to fight in guerrilla. You can fight, in front of 81,000 people if you want, or whatever, 15,000 people at All Out, right?
We got him warmed up for the match.
100%. We also had a really weird week in professional wrestling, just in general, because first Terry Funk. I mean, everybody who knows me, if you look at our group chat for CCW, you see, how many times I'll put a Terry Funk match or the things that I think about Terry Funk in regards as like a wrestler, and him passing away was just incredibly sad. And it was something that like people had told me like, oh, Terry Funk's in bad shape. Terry Funk's in bad shape. But whenever that happens and whenever it finally happens, it's like just heartbreaking as someone who's like grown up and loved him. And then literally like 2 days later, right, or almost a day later, than the shocking, tragic death of Bray Wyatt, who's 36 years old, and still on the active roster, still like had a lot of stuff ahead of him. So like wrestling's one of those weird things where you feel like these people
Right.
more than if. Look, I love Brad Pitt, but the day he passes away is not going to feel the same as when Bray Wyatt or Terry Funk passes away, right?
Well, it's because as a wrestling fan, right, you grow up like somebody like a Terry Funk, right? We grow up watching him, and, to be able to be involved in the business that he really helped build, that you have that personal connection to them. You invite wrestling into your home every week. It's a labor of love, right? We grew up in the era of buying pay-per-views. I know that sometimes I was handing over $60 to my parents, asking them if we could get a pay-per-view. So
wow, how old are we, right? I know the feeling. It's terrible.
I'm just speaking generally, not
right.
I'm not putting a date on things, right? But like I said, you feel that personal connection with them because like we grew up watching somebody like a Terry Funk, and then somebody like Bray Wyatt, young man. He has a young family. He has, like you said, so much more to give the business. And then we also watch the progression of his character. So you feel that connection with them, and we all take it really hard, even if you've never met them before.
In particular, if especially with Terry Funk, there's a vignette. I think it was like in '87, and I've put it. We have Nick Turner he's the cowboy, and I sent him this gimmick one time because it's a great gimmick where they're drinking in a bar and it looks so weird. It's a vignette and it's terrible. It's not done, even by WWE standards, not done particularly well. But Terry Funk, for some reason, gets so mad at this extra for picking up a girl that he just bashes a beer bottle over his head and just humiliates him. And for some reason, I love that vignette, and it's all just Terry Funk, like, whatever you gave Terry Funk. And I know there's always that story where he'll say like, oh, Vince, my horse is sick. Like, oh, you want me to lose here? You want me to do this or something? And my horse is sick, Vince, or whatever. I got to go home. Mm-hmm. But he made everything great, like just his attitude and stuff. And then early Terry Funk, before he became, the Chainsaw Charlie, the ECW Terry Funk, is just someone to watch too, because he changed his style. He got out of the shadow of his brother there at the end, and he wrestled forever, and he had a great career. And I'm sure he had a difficult life at the end for the amount of stuff that he did, and bumps and death matches that I'm sure kept him hurt for the majority of his life. But he lived that's a difference. He lived such an incredible life. He was in his 70s, and he lived it. And it's just like Bray Wyatt, on the other hand, is someone who's just going to live forever as that 36-year-old to all of us. So it's a whole different ballgame. He didn't. I guess it's that living with the potential of what he could have been, that we can think of, like the Jimi Hendrix and the Janis Joplins and the Kurt Cobains. He'll live in with those guys, and that like he never reached the peak of what he could have been. When you look at Bray Wyatt, it was that next Undertaker. To me, it was always that next Undertaker.
Absolutely, hands down.
It was there, like it was right in front of us. And he came in with an incredible gimmick when I first saw him with the Wyatt family, and I loved it. I loved everything about it. And then he kind of, I didn't think he was the next Undertaker then, but he kind of got it where his matches meant something. And a lot of people criticized his actual in-ring work, but I think he was very entertaining. I saw it was in Miami. It was like he broke his finger during the match in December. It was like a house show match, and it was against Jinder Mahal, and it was just very entertaining. It was very entertaining. He didn't have to always do the smoke and mirrors and the whole thing, but he'll live on forever. So rest in peace, Bray Wyatt, and rest in peace, Terry Funk, I guess, right? Both of them. So let's talk Coastal Championship Wrestling. The last territory, things are just insane right now. We have an incredible amount of shows. Bash of the Brew is Saturday. I have people already asking about Bash in the chat. Hi, Aaliyah, Unbranded Brewing. Jody, thank you so much.
Hi, Jody.
Dimitri is like, where is the event? So what are you new here, man? Every first Saturday of the month, hi, Aaliyah, Unbranded Brewing Company. Every second Friday of the month, we're back in Kissimmee for Conquer Kissimmee. Every second Saturday, we return to Homestead Saturday Night Slam. Then we have a September 16th breakout of the CCW Arena, which has an incredible card, which is going to be announced tomorrow. And then we have Port St. Lucie Destiny awaits this month. But we're here to talk about Bash. That is Lissy's show. That is the show. That is the Miami show. And we are excited for it, Lissy. You missed it. You know, you were in Egypt. You were in England. Like, Lissy just travels around the globe. No, wait, you didn't miss it. If you were at home and you missed it, Jackal Stevens toppled the untoppable Ariel Levy. Ariel Levy with a year and a half, 40-something title defenses was truly, truly incredible. And now Jackal
fighting
Stevens,
champion, he was
fighting champion to the end. He went down fighting. But now Jackal Stevens, the CCW heavyweight champion. Tell the folks at home how important that is, Lissy.
Ooh, well, I mean, Ariel was champion for over a year, right?
Yes, a year and a half.
Wow, very long reign for the champion that we deserved, even if we didn't want him. But I think when you see Jackal, it doesn't matter if he's wrestling in front of 50 people or 500 people. He gives them so much energy, and the way that the crowd really interacts with him is just amazing. I can say this from, just my initial CCW interactions, just from being a fan, right? You don't even know who that guy is, and you're just like, wow, he's got something special. And he has an amazing moveset, but he's also just like, he just has amazing energy, and it doesn't matter what type of day you're having or how the night is going. When you hear that music, you see the dancing, you're like, oh, Jackal's here. And I mean, he's been, so correct me if I'm wrong, he's been in CCW for a long time. So I know that he's a fan favorite. So I'm really proud of him.
The only longer tenured active wrestler right now would be probably Cha Cha Charlie. But yeah, Jackal has just been a mainstay. He's been CCW Southeastern champion. He's just a guy who just works hard day in, day out. And then as a thank you, I mean, he had an incredible match with Ariel Levy. Right after the match, as he got through his curtain, his former best friend smashes a chair, Alex Ocean, right across his head. They will clash at Homestead next week in a no disqualification match, one-on-one. But Bash at the Brew Saturday, we have Alex Ocean and Jake St. Patrick against Alan S2S Martinez and Jackal Stevens. Going to be an incredible match. First time that Jackal and Jake St. Patrick have been across from each other in years. First time that Jackal and Alex have wrestled in a very long time. And then this is another one. Jake St. Patrick and S2S, an incredible matchup. So all four of these guys in that ring together.
I'm excited to see it. And I'm excited because we have like the contrast of styles in that match too, right? You have Ocean, who is Mr. Hardcore. You have Jackal, who can, he can pretty much keep up with anybody, but he has aerial moves. He's gonna take it to the mat too. He can get hardcore too. So I'm excited to see that. And then we have our current cruiserweight champion and a former cruiserweight champion, and Jake St. Patrick and Alan. So really excited.
Awesome. Yeah, that's going to be one of those things where it could be a wrestling match, but it also could just be a fight. It could be a brawl. I mean, I'm interested to see, Jackal and Ocean, how they respond to each other. I'm interested to see how Jake St. Patrick has been on an incredible run. He wrestled DMC last time in Kissimmee, has just been awesome. So we're looking forward to that match as well. Another match just happened organically. Ariel Dominguez he had won against Hector Perfecto. He had gotten mirror smashed in his face. He was bloody. He was being tended to by medics, walking through the back, and he just bumps right into the wrong guy to bump into, Meadow. And Meadow Meadow, you know, the last guy when you're down and you feel beaten to run
Love Meadow.
into is the Bulgarian Punisher, Meadow. So Ariel Dominguez always I mean, just he's always the underdog. He's always the ultimate underdog. He wrestles the undefeated and possibly unbeatable Meadow.
Yeah, I mean, I love Ariel Dominguez. I think that he embodies what like the fighting spirit is, right? When you talk about smaller guys that just can wrestle anyone, right? He all has that Rey Mysterio esque self to himself, excuse me, because when you look at him, you're like, he's a stacked guy. He can go, and I mean, he has a great amateur background as well. And Meadow is like you said, he's undefeated. Meadow's a fighter, so we're gonna have a really interesting night on Saturday.
One of my most fun matches at Bash of the Brew was QT Marshall and Ariel Dominguez. I think I obviously, you know, Cha Cha Charlie, obviously moments that they had with Ariel, you know, Cha Cha Charlie versus Santos, like was so loud where everybody's rocking, like times where the Crown last month with the Crown and the Night Riders, you have the crowd so into what they're seeing. But Ariel Dominguez and QT, it was one of those moments where the crowd maybe didn't know Ariel as well before the match, but by the end of the match, every single person was on their feet. You know, they believed that he was going to topple the mountain, and now let's see if he actually can, you know, pull the trigger and win the big one. You know, it would make him the first his first reign as Southeastern champion, and it would be a huge thing to hang his hat on. A defeat of Meadow. We're going to talk about NWA, a newly signed NWA star, trains at CCW now. Ruthie J. Now she's going to be a future. I think she's a future NWA Women's Champion, which also just changed hands. Camille, who during her title reign actually defended the NWA Women's title 5 times here at CCW. So 5 of those defenses were here. She lost for the first time, I think, in 833 days, Lizzie.
So, yes.
A changing of the guard, and Kenzie Page, also another, you know, we've seen Kenzie, you know, here at CCW. She had an incredible match with Kylan King. You can go to the YouTube to watch that. But now Kenzie Page, and you might see her popping up very soon in CCW as well with that NWA Women's title. But we have Ruthie J., who is a future star. She's already a star. She wrestles Mila Moore, the premium bunny, except no imitations. We've got the premium bunny, Mila Moore versus Ruthie J. Mila is on a tear, but so is Ruthie J. Who do you got?
Ooh, don't make me choose, because I love both of them. So when you look at, like, Ruthie is just such an amazing all-around athlete. Like, she's so young. She's not even close to hitting her full potential yet, right?
So true.
She's just on the rise, and she's amazing. She's, you know, like you said, she's coming in, you know, to her entering the NWA, which is just so exciting. And it's exciting for us as, you know, the CCW family to have people from our women's division going into the NWA, right? And then you have Mila.
And everywhere. Our women's division is crazy, right?
Like, yeah, exactly. And I feel like it's just so well represented.
The Women of Wrestling women's champion, the CCW women's champion. Obviously, Kylan King signed at Impact Wrestling. Ruthie J. now with the NWA. I want to stop now because I'm going to miss somebody, but I have like 4 names on the tip of my tongue that I was about to say, but I'm just going to stop because I'm going to say 3 or 2. But anyway,
there's some alumni in NXT and other places. Like,
correct. Yeah, that's right. See, I was going to miss that one.
Yes, I'm trying to. I got you.
I'm counting like what? Like our women's division is stacked, right? It's very
No, it's happening, and that's the thing. Like, it's when you bring in talent, other talent wants to come here. So I think that's really a testament.
Yeah, I think putting together the shows for Bash of the Brew becomes so difficult because it's become a lottery of who we're leaving off. And then, like, I'll give you an example.
To have, by the way.
But which is great because Homestead is another amazing show that some of those, like, you have Nick Turner and Chris Farrow. I don't think in a no disqualification match, I don't think they would have gotten their just due. You know, they have a hot feud right now. I want to give them the right spot. I want to give them the right amount of time, and that was not going to be a Bash at the Brew, but that will be in Homestead the following week on September 9th. But to go back, like QT Marshall wins the AAA Latin American Championship. The first or second phone call he makes, November 4th, Bash at the Brew. QT Marshall defends the AAA Latin American Championship against Fuego del Sol, his former protege. Fuego's not very happy with Mike, with QT, for some reasons that he put out there publicly, and maybe he retracted it a little bit.
Okay.
The first thing, but when QT was like, I said, we got to do you and Fuego.
Oh,
I don't know if he loved the idea, but we're doing it. But so you have AAA November 4th, the AAA Championship, Latin American Championship. If QT's still the champion, I'm sure he will be.
He will be.
If not, that match is still happening. It's Fuego and QT Marshall November 4th. But you have the women's NWA Championship. You have people like these guys, Daisy Kill and Jack Callow, who just won the United States NWA Championship. They just came off a feud with the Crown, but that seems like a title for title waiting to happen. So you have the Crown, you have Jack Tallows, you have Daisy Kill, you have Ruthie, you have all these outside forces coming in. It makes Bash of the Brew very difficult to put together, but that being said, you're exactly right. It's a good problem to have.
Great.
So I don't know. It's a throw up. It's a toss up between Ruthie J and Mila Moore, the Premium Bunny.
Well, we have to remember though that the Premium Bunny, she doesn't come alone, so she always has backup.
Always.
So he might be the difference maker in that match.
Yeah, no, you have Cam, you have Rich Weiss, you have a lot of stuff. You have a lot of things like, but Ruthie always has the right attitude. She's always like,
she knows how to get it done.
I want to see Rich Weiss and Ruthie one-on-one. I'm just kidding. There's no intergender. There's no intergender wrestling here.
We're all
Ruthie, says the Facebook user. I hate that you can't see who it is. I'd love to judge the people. I like to judge you by your profile picture. Like, here, let's see. Louis loves Buc-ee's. Louis from the guys, the crisscross guys. See?
Oh, hey,
Judged in a good way. Alan, look at Alan's face. What a nose on Alan, right? He misses you. Jody, I don't want to judge Jody. This guy, there's a guy that put I guess. I mean, Lissy, you're
I can't see it, brother.
You're like your ethnicity's from the Virgin Islands, right? Or not Virgin Islands, the islands. The Great Island. I'm so sorry. What is the island?
The Cape Verde Islands?
Yes, the Cape Verde Islands. Sorry. And then I'm not going to even post that comment. But people think you're very beautiful and they're commenting.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Don't thank them, actually. No. Not for what they said. Lissy, 2 months ago, we saw something incredible. We saw something despicable. I've never seen this done in a professional wrestling ring. It was disgusting.
I don't even want to talk about it. My heart.
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts because of seeing Ricky afterward and stuff. But during their match, you just saw it on the live wrestling on this Tuesday. Alex Chamberlain finds a lit cigar. And
first of all, where did he even get that?
You're not supposed to smoke at the brewery.
Right.
I don't know. Like, I think the audience is so big and so unruly at this point. Like, who had a lit cigar in the audience?
And then who but Alex would see a person with a lit cigar and be like, you know what? I'm going to put this out in this guy's eye. Like,
the gentleman in the audience wanted a replacement cigar from management. He's not supposed to be smoking in the first place.
You're kidding me.
Alex takes the cigar and he just puts it right out on Ricky's eye. Temporary blindness. The blindness will come by his recovery. He's had an eye patch on for 2 months now. Alex was originally to be suspended. Kevin Sullivan laid the hammer down, said no, suspension indefinitely. Ricky Martinez said no, I want that guy in the ring. So Ricky last month, ready to challenge him. Unfortunately, not cleared by a doctor. But guess what? Ricky will be in competition, and he's bringing some friends with him. I don't know if you guys saw the security camera yesterday. Domino was attacked by Alex Chamberlain and the Knight Riders. You had Skits, who always has Ricky's back in a huge 6-man match. It's Ricky Martinez, Skits, and Domino versus Alex Chamberlain and the Knight Riders. This is going to be personal, Lissy.
This is very personal. I saw the footage this morning of our friend Domino, and I was just like, talk about wrong place, wrong time. Poor guy. And I feel like Alex Chamberlain just needs to be stopped. He's on a rampage. I know that my boys are going to take care of him on Saturday, so I'm not even worried.
I think you hit it right in the head. Alex has kind of like turned something. Something has turned on in his head. You know, once I just feel like, you know, yeah, well, it's bottled up frustration, it's anger. You know, Ricky and Alex have known each. Well, Ricky and Alex have known each other for 20
forever.
years. Yeah. So Alex Chamberlain. I mean, I don't even. But when I first, 2000. Oh my God, I'm old. All right, I don't even want to say when.
Don't say the year. Just, you know.
Yeah. More than 12 years ago, 13 years ago. 13 years ago, Alex was a Russian in a tag team. And, you know, Ricky was high in the hog. He was young too, you know, like they were all very important parts of South Florida professional wrestling. And their paths kind of moved in different directions, you know, and both of them are leaders in different ways. And Alex doesn't respect the kind of leader that Ricky is to the boys. So, you know, it was always something that was it was always there. There was always that animosity there. And, you know, both of them want to, you know, be able to say that they're the top of the mountain of South Florida veteran professional wrestlers. They're what it means to be successful in CCW, and one of them is going to stake claim at the end of the day. Sergio has a great,
you know, as they say, good friends make better enemies.
Yes, exactly. It's very true. Sergio is 100% right. Ricky should throw a fresh cafecito in Chamberlain's face. Don't even give him ideas.
Sergio, please do not pull up there on Saturday with any type of coffee.
If there's a cafecito that's steaming at ringside, you're getting thrown out of the building. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter who you are.
I'm snitching.
Taylor Swift can show up Saturday. If she has a cigar or a Cuban coffee in her hand, she's out of here. That's it.
I don't know.
We're laying the law down.
You're gonna get a pass, brother. Sorry.
Listen, I don't care if you're Tay-Tay or not. You're getting thrown out of the building. That's a warning. No cigars, no cafecitos, no flamethrowers.
Nothing hot.
Torches. No, we don't want to burn everybody with a torch.
God.
Oh, but this match is going to be incredible, and I am absolutely 100% excited about it. And then, you know, the last match we're going to talk about is a toss-up. I was corrected, by the way. I called it the Grand Slam. Only belt that Cha-Cha Charlie has not won, I figured, because he was a former Southeastern champion, former heavyweight champion, tag team champion. He has never been a tag team champion. And that is, so I was calling it a Grand Slam. But Cha-Cha Charlie, along with Ozzy Killmeister and NVIDIA, go for the tag titles against the Crown in a huge match Saturday. I'm so excited to hear how the fans are going to react. But Cha-Cha Charlie is going for the Triple Crown.
Well,
not the Grand Slam.
Listen, there's not one person involved in this match that isn't a fan favorite. Like, the Crown are extremely popular. These are, you know, every city we go to, the fans love them. They've been, you know, champions for a very long time, and I don't see them letting those belts go very easily. So let's just put that there, right? And then you have Ozzy, who is, you know, the man with the most metal head in professional wrestling. There's nothing that Ozzy won't do. You know, he has a very unique style of wrestling. And then we have Cha-Cha, who is Mr. CCW franchise. Like you said, he's been around for a long time. Everybody loves Cha-Cha. And Cha-Cha is known to do extreme things in that ring too. I really think, Nelio, this is going to be an all-out brawl.
Yeah, I'm with you. I can't wait to just listen. This is one of those matches we just want to listen. Listen to see who the fans are with. Listen to see like how they're, because the Crown. Look, it's not about good guys and bad guys. Sometimes
No.
The Crown, when they hit the curtain, whether they're in Nashville, whether they're in Winston Salem,
doesn't matter.
Whether they're in All In London, as soon as they fly through that curtain, like the whole audience goes like whoosh, the energy changes, and there's something about them. There's something visual about them. There's something scary about them.
Mm-hmm.
And
they look like the real deal, and people know.
They look like BMFs, right? Bad motherfuckers, I guess.
Yep.
We can swear on the channel, right? So you have a situation where you get a couple just like badass dudes coming out, but you also have, man, like you said, look, the crowd reaction and the love of Cha Cha Charlie in that building. If Cha Cha Charlie and Ozzy win those tag team belts on Saturday,
oh my God,
Hialeah is going to explode. It's going to be an incredible moment. I think that the Crown are going to force them to pry it out of their cold, dead hands. So I don't expect it to go easily. So yeah, that's going to be like, that's the match that I am very specifically excited for, Lissy.
I'm very excited for it too. And I'll tell you, like, just as a ring announcer, sometimes, Nelio, I'm sitting there and I forget that I'm doing a job. Like, because I'm so into the match, and I already know that this is going to be one of those matches where, the bell's going to ring and you guys got to give me a second before I announce who the winner is, because it's really just going to be that good. I already know it.
100%. I that's the one, that I'm really excited about. I'm also excited, like, ticket wise, we are in a, like, Bash at the Brew has just become, like, it's incredible that there's 32 now. I think by next WrestleMania, we'll have surpassed the amount of WrestleManias, right?
Wow.
That's like a weird thought. Like, it's going to be, 40, 50, so 6 months away. Okay, so we might be tied. April might be.
We might be right there, yeah.
Yeah, we might be right there. So it's so cool to think of the growth of the show, but like that it's still something that is just really like cool and hot right now. And you have to thank people at Unbranded Brewing Company, and then all the crazy fans in Miami and Hialeah who've just like latched on. And I love the fact that we've come to the shows, and it's obviously I look around and I see a lot of the same faces, but then I see new faces, and then those new faces stay. So like there's this weird vibe where like someone's like, oh, I'm a Bash like 15 and up person. And there's people who are like, I'm a Bash like 27 and up. And then like they think something, and then you have these weirdos who are like, I'm a Bash 1 guy. Like, there are probably.
They're the OGs. What are you talking about?
OGs, yeah. No. But it's like, wow, like, no, but they think completely different than the newer people. So it's really cool for me to talk to them and see their perceptions, based on what it is. And, we've got some cool announcements coming up. I think I can announce something like really, really cool, but like, I'm not going to yet because like out of the small chance that I'm not supposed to announce it, like, but there's a really cool thing happening very soon.
Well, good news is on the way.
That is Miami based and is, I almost just said it. It's really cool, but that's pending, and that's not pending. It's done. So we're really excited about that. And then I just can't announce it. And then the future of Bash at the Brew, like I said, you have QT Marshall and Fuego, which is in 2 months. You have Enzo coming back.
QT Marshall.
Cutie pie Marshall. And then you have him against Fuego. You have Enzo Amore coming. I'll announce which bash that's going to be at. I was like, Enzo, come to Port St. Lucie, and he just was like, that's the cool part is when guys like get it. They love that vibe that they got. They love the reaction and stuff. But you got to try it.
Is a great crowd too. They're like, I can't choose if it's them or Bash because like they're just. Well, it's a different type of crowd, but the energy is just as good in both places.
Families come more. Like, look, if you're listening to this, like, and you want to like get drunk and you want to like take 3 or 4 friends of yours of the opposite sex, whether it's like a cute guy or a cute girl,
Okay.
and you want
I
to
didn't know where you were going with that when you said you want to take 2 or 3.
2 or 3 friends of the opposite sex to a show and have like 3 or 4 drinks and then like just party. You
Yes.
come to Bash.
Yes.
If you want to come and just lock in and get enthralled with a wrestling show, you can come to Port St. Lucie. Like the party atmosphere is very different. Like the Hialeah crowd is like, it's part of the show. Like you could just
do it without them.
Yeah. Like someone shows up for the first time and people are just like shaking the rail, which by the way, stop shaking the rails, guys.
Please.
Like my guardrails are beat up because of you, Hialeah fans. They're shaking the guardrails, and then like someone who's just there just starts grabbing them and shaking the guardrails because they just want to be part of like this like awesome vibe that that we have. So like that's the way to go. And then Kissimmee too is a party. Kissimmee feels like a club. There's a lot of kids in the audience. It's funny because like at Bash, there's a decent amount of kids in the audience, but like everyone's there to party and get drunk. And then I look out at Kissimmee, and everybody's partying and they're drunk, but there's like there's more kids, you know. But I do know, like, we particularly end the show as quickly as possible in Kissimmee because I think the law, like, can't have a club with a bunch of kids in it after I think like 11 or something like that. So we make sure we get everything, we get everything turned out. But the point is there's a different vibe to every show. So if you're watching at home and it's your first time, or like, you know, we're finding a new audience on YouTube, Lissy, like. Mm-hmm. People are just watching random matches and then they're watching a million other matches. So like, which I love, but like guys, travel down here, come see us. We're monthly in Nashville. We're monthly at in Miami. And that's it.
Yeah. Fit us into your travel plans. If you're going to Orlando with your family for Disney, pop over to Kissimmee. If you're down here for spring break.
Yes.
I'm afraid to say that because I think we all have like
if you're not cool, like if you're lame, like don't come to the shows. But if you're cool,
come on,
like if you're chill and stuff, please like come to the show, be cool, like, you know, enjoy yourselves, all that type of stuff. Like you can leave your lame friends at home, but like only cool people like CCW. I feel like I'm like advertising for like, you know.
I don't know what you're trying to sell right now.
No, I'm just kidding. But you know, it's funny because like while we were on here, like people are buying their tickets and stuff like that. I think it's at this point, it's just reminding people every first Saturday. I think sometimes I'll get messages like, "Oh, dude, it's Saturday already!" Like it's like, yeah,
and that's
every first Saturday.
This month it does feel like that because the first is on a Friday, so we're first Saturday of the month. It seems really early, but Saturday, holiday weekend, pop on by.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
It's
gonna be awesome. Guys, I think we're gonna wrap this up. I have to say this. Much thank you to Inktel, new sponsors, new friends of the company. Go over to the Happy Customer channel. I know I have the Happy Customer channel underneath there. I kept it on here this time, Dan. Mm-hmm. You know, good friends of the company. They're going to be a huge presence there at Bash. The few bought an entire front row section. You know, shout out to the few. You guys are awesome. And it's so cool to have just like lively fans in the front row right there on hard cam, like popping and being crazy for everything because you guys set the tone for the whole building. And all the OG fans, all the OG people, couple quick plugs, ring announcers, play-by-play, ring announcers, referees, managers, valet. We have a special program that we started particularly for commentary and play-by-play. Starts next Thursday. I have the entire 5 slots completely full, but I am adding 3 more slots, and we will do another curriculum staggered after that. So that's at the CCW training facility down in Pompano Beach. Obviously, we are accepting also professional wrestlers. Only if you like, if you think you could be a star. I mean, even if you think you just want to do it, you can. But like, I'm like Gangrel and the team, like the coaching team, and Alex Chamberlain and Eddie Valentine and the guys that we have busting their asses in there. Like, I want to get athletes. If you know someone who loves wrestling and is like ex-football player, ex-con, if they're just a fighter. I'm just kidding. I don't want to put a bunch of ex-cons there. But if you're an ex-con, you can come. Like plenty of wrestlers like Scott Hall. Scott Hall, yeah, no, I'm just kidding. But if you there's a lot of potential there's a lot of like everyone has potential. Like everyone is different. You know, not everyone you don't have to be 6'3", you have to be 6'4". But if you are 6'3", you are 6'4", definitely come as well.
Especially
but, like,
you.
Especially you. It's funny because we've had some guys who were cut by the XFL, guys who were in NFL training camps, and they come in and they look great. And it doesn't mean you're going to do great in professional wrestling, but we're really building an incredible team. Like we have an incredible amount of homegrown wrestlers. And we're in a position now where we have wrestlers flying in from other parts of the country, driving in to train here. We have guys who work at the NWA who come in there and they train and they're just trying to get better. So you get to be in an environment in where you are working with those people. So if you love professional wrestling, you always wanted to be a play-by-play commentator. I say this like Blake Chadwick is employed by WWE right now.
Blake, I miss you.
Ariel Levy, the champ that you deserve, is doing Spanish commentary for All Elite Wrestling,
right.
Spanish color commentary for All Elite Wrestling right now. So, I love the fact that, Dan Ackerman, co-founder, my business partner, is a great play-by-play guy. But what about the next Blake Chadwick? What about the next, I hate to say it, the next Ariel Levy? Forget about the next Ariel Levy part. But what about the next Blake Chadwick? What about the next, play-by-play guy that they're going to need? Now's the time to come.
What about the next Lissy Almeida?
100%. The next Lissy Almeida. The next, absolutely. The next Dan Ackerman.
No, but seriously, Nelio, on a serious note, just look at like my story. I'm coming in. I started doing boxing interviews. I have a podcast that I do with my friends, and you guys are just like, hey, Lissy, like, do you want to do interviews for us? And I mean, I think that just if you're a wrestling fan, there can be a place for everyone in the business. So it doesn't necessarily like not everyone has to be a wrestler. Like I'm so happy just
100%.
being able to just being involved and doing ring announcing and interviews and just stuff like this. So we all have a place.
We have business classes every Thursday at 6:00, and we talk about the wrestling business, talk about wrestling history. Today we talked about, the original incarnation of the NWA in 1948 and what the implications were and moving into television and, Gorgeous George's impact, not just on professional wrestling, but Gorgeous George, the wrestler through the 40s and into the 50s and early 60s. I think he wrestled for like 17 years. The creation of the heel, basically. He's not really like, no one really remembers him. Like,
he doesn't get his flowers enough.
Yeah. Well, it was a bunch of 20-year-olds in the class, and I'm like, who knows who Gorgeous George was or whatever. And look,
I thought it was Macho Man's Gorgeous George.
I bet you they did, and they're like, why is he saying it's just so important? No. But like, we saw a match, we watched that, and then we talked about his importance to the creation of national television. 3 networks at the time, right. And they were clamoring for a cultural star. So you can learn about the history of professional wrestling up into what we're doing now, and you can have a base of the idea of realism and the idea of so the idea of like what is wrestling really, right? Like it's very abstract. Like is it what is it, right? So you can gotta get your bases on that, but like only if you're cool. I'm just kidding. If you love pro wrestling, you really have to be passionate about pro wrestling.
Yes, 100%.
He wants you 20,000 people right here in Miami, larger than life. 100%. Yeah, you have to love professional wrestling, and it's about passion because, Braid kind of said it. I don't want to quote him, but I read something that was like, like how wrestling is like a cruel mistress or something. And I always say like you will, all 100%, you will give more to wrestling than it gives to you, no matter what. Very few people get out of wrestling more than what they give in. It's definitely passion. It's definitely painful passion. Like, you look at someone like Bret Hart, who's my favorite wrestler of all time. He lost his brother. He's still upset about. I mean, he has lost a lot of his physical capacity.
Right.
He's still upset about things like the Montreal Screwjob. He's still mad about professional wrestling. And that is the guy who main evented WrestleMania. That is the guy who was on top, and wrestling did not treat him as well. And Bray, I think Bray Wyatt put more into wrestling than what he got out in the end. You can take as much money as you want, but in the end, there's so much. So that's the thing. If you come in with that mindset, and you just love wrestling passionately, like we do, like us weirdos, like if you're in that, like I shouldn't say this, but
first it was you gotta be cool. Now it's us weirdos.
It's us weirdos. It's true. I mean, I'm not really. I mean,
we are though. We are because, like you
cool
said,
in
like
a certain way.
Like I'm one of those people that I travel for wrestling. Like I will go anywhere.
Yeah.
There's a show that I want to see. I will. You make the time. You budget the money. You allocate the resources to where they need to go so you can get there. So same thing. Like if you love wrestling and you wanna be involved, you have work, you have kids, you have a life, and all that other stuff. You'll find the time, you'll find the resources, and you'll get in there with us.
Yeah, and it's still it's a crazy thing. Like, yeah, it's crazy, right? Like wrestling is crazy. You have to love it. Like you will not be able to go through the towns and the things, but those things, I think Gangrel talks about how the journey is the jewel. Man, those things in the end, those are the best parts of it. We joke, like we do the same joke over and over. Like we leave Kissimmee and it's 11 p.m. and we're driving 3 hours. And the show was great. The show is great, but I know I'm getting home at 3:00 in the morning. We're just looking around and the same joke over and over. It's like, look at us, we're doing it. Like
we're still doing it.
The modern day, like, so it's like we're just like we're making the towns and we're just laughing. But I get home at 4, and then my daughter grabs my face and wakes me up and says it's time to wake up, Dada, at 7 a.m. And I just got home at 4. But I love it. I love every town. I love every second, and that you have to be that weirdo. You know what I mean? Like you're not just a wrestler when you're at WrestleMania. You're a wrestler when you're working Kissimmee and needing to come home in the same night because you have Homestead at 7:00 the next day. Because I'm an idiot who schedules Homestead.
I don't know what is wrong.
The night after Kissimmee. So if that makes you like excited to be a professional wrestler, then you should become a wrestler or an announcer or whatever. Listen to the things that happen to Jim Ross. Like read Jim Ross's book, because like I read things that like happen to Jim Ross, and I'm like, why does this guy still love wrestling? Then I'm like, you know what? He's like us. He's weird. Like he doesn't care.
His DNA. He doesn't care.
Boss, Bill Watts, just bullied him. Like it's like he's his right hand guy, and he hated his right hand guy. That's why I think if Chad is the best play guy in history, I think that's. Jim Ross is the Chad of like.
I don't know.
We're getting inside baseball here, but it started as a commercial for CCW training facility. It became a pontification of professional wrestling in general. But most importantly, Bash at the Brew 32. It's probably there's a big surprise. I forgot. There's a big surprise.
We love surprises.
Yes, there's a big surprise. Buy your tickets solely on the surprise if you want. There's a big surprise happening Saturday. I totally forgot. I just put it together yesterday. I'm not going to say what it is. I'm not going to give a clue. I'm not going to give a hint, because last time I tried to do a big surprise, everyone's like, that's Enzo Amore is the surprise, like immediately. So it's not Enzo Amore, number one. Number two, it's a surprise. So I'm not even going to give a hint.
And it's a big one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big in stature too, I see. Now we're okay. Small in stature. See, I'm just throwing you off now. See?
Oh, okay.
Okay. Bash of the Brew 32, ccwrestlingfl.com. You go there, you buy your tickets. Remember, Homestead's the next week. Nick Turner and Chris Farrow, no disqualification. Ozzy and Elliot Crow, no disqualification. Jackal and Alex Ocean, no disqualification. 3 huge no DQ matches. Going forward, Homestead's going to be a little bit more. Maybe it'll feel like the ECW arena in there. You know, like
And
maybe
also,
feel like
Homestead is a destination. Like you go, you eat, you drink, you play some games, you have a great time there. Like get there.
Yeah. You try to spy on the U.S. military. There's other reasons to go to Homestead.
I was gonna go there, but I was like,
try to commit treason, whatever you want to do. The point is, you go to Homestead, you're gonna feel a different vibe going forward. In Homestead, Miami Brewing Company, they told me, we love the show. Can you turn up the violence and stuff? And I said, it's an all-age show, but I will turn it up enough to keep it an all-age show.
They don't have to tell you twice. Don't worry. You know how to do it.
Exactly. Look, I love ECW. Fonzie's excited for it. We are all excited about it. You'll feel a little bit of a different hardcore vibe coming to Homestead on a monthly basis, and that starts with 3 no disqualification matches. Also, you have Mila Moore versus NVIDIA, and you have some other awesome stuff happening that night. Blake Troop wrestles Cha-Cha Charlie and Kissimmee. That's a huge matchup. That's Blake Troop's first big, huge test. He had a huge match against Ozzy Killmeister, but I'm excited to see Cha-Cha and Blake Troop at Kissimmee. I'm excited by Martin Stone and James Tapia. I want to see what James Tapia brings at Kissimmee.
Back, guys.
And then St. Lucie, Destiny Awaits. The winner of Jackal and Ocean, they wrestle Martin Stone for the CCW heavyweight title. The former Danny Burch. The guy's a killer. The guy's awesome. And a bunch of other stuff happening. So a couple. The surprise is going to play into the future of CCW. Is going to be a mainstay with us. It's not just going to be one and done. So it should be pretty cool. So Saturday, ccwrestlingfl.com, Bash at the Brew, Unbranded Brewing Company. It's going to be the best thing that there's ever was, if there was a thing that ever was this big. So Lissy, you're awesome. Thank you for this. I'm excited. Any final thoughts on everything?
No, with this schedule, when do you have time to sleep? Just so I know.
Never.
You have been watching CCW Insider, produced by Minutes to Bell Time in association with Coastal Championship Wrestling.
How does this end?